per usual, start in our comfortable seated position. We'll just give ourselves a little move, see how we're doing today. And then settle those sitting bones into our mat. Close our eyes, pull the shoulders back and down, lift the heart, and then direct that breath all the way down into our bellies. Make sure that we do our best to just let go of any expectations we may have of ourselves or of this practice. And when we're ready, inhale, lift the hands up to the sky, drop the shoulders away from the ears, open up those fingers, give them a little wiggle, and then as we exhale, we'll turn to the right. We can place that right hand on the floor behind us, left hand touches the thigh, lengthen on the inhales, twist on the exhales. One more deep inhale here. Exhale, twisting. And then we'll keep that left hand on the thigh. Let's lift the right hand up and over. We'll begin to tip that left shoulder down toward the knee. Inhaling, let's come on up. We'll unwind, find ourselves back to the center. Take one breath here. And then when we're ready, inhale, lift the hands up high. And we'll exhale over to the left. Right hand can find the outside of that left thigh. Left hand stays right up here by our spine. Pardon me. Lengthen on those inhales. Feel the body relax on the exhale. Stay here for one more breath. And then we'll keep that right hand to the outside of the thigh. We'll inhale, lift the left hand up, and then reaching over, we'll lower the shoulder down toward that right knee. Stacking our shoulders one on top of the other. We can gaze up, see the sun or the LED light. Good. On our next inhale, we'll come on up back to the center, and we'll just place those hands right in front of our shin. Inhale, we'll lengthen in the spine, and then exhale, just little creepy crawlies with the fingers. As we slowly fold forward, we'll take several breaths to get down into this fold. So take our time. We're not in a rush. Keeping those sitting bones down into our mats, lengthening from that tail all the way up to the top of our head. And now we've stretched ourselves nice and long. One more inhale, we lengthen, and then as we exhale, we'll stay folded and we'll just lower the head, roll up into a little ball here. Arms can even droop just a little bit, shoulders relax. Let's direct that breath down into our lower back. One more breath. And then on our next inhale, we'll slowly walk the hands backwards, lifting our chest up to seated. Let those hands come up to the sky again. And then as we exhale, we'll come into a goal post. So bending the elbows, dropping the shoulders away from the ears, and then doing our best not to arch in the back as we do this. So keeping a flat back here, tilting that pelvis, breathing into the belly here, opening the chest, lifting the top of the head. A lot of stuff going on in the goal post. And then inhale, let's lift the hands straight up. And then exhale, we'll come down. Pull those shoulder blades together. Good. Inhale up. And exhale down. Moving with our breath. Let's do one more. Inhale up. And exhale down. Pull those shoulders together. Lift the heart. Good. And now we'll take this right hand and we'll reach behind. We'll try and touch that opposite hip with the backs of our fingers. Left hand can come and touch. Hold that right hand in place. Take a breath. Feel those shoulders melt. And then we can lower our head over to the left side, opening up in the top of that right shoulder, in the neck. Inhaling here. Stay for that exhale. Get all of the air out. And then we'll release the hand. Let the head come back up. Give it a little wiggle if we need. And then when we're ready, other side. So left hand will reach back behind. Right hand holds it in place. Feel those shoulders melt away with our breath. And then we can lower the right ear toward the shoulder. The ear toward the shoulder, not the shoulder toward the ear. That kind of defeats the purpose. One more inhale here. Exhale, let everything melt away from the ears. And release that left hand, bring the head back up to the center. Let's inhale, lift the nose up toward the sky. And then exhale, lower it down to our chest. Good. Hands will come down to the ground. We're already rolling in that direction. So we'll just do a little forward fold here. 2 breaths is all. And we'll begin to wiggle those fingers forward. We'll roll over our shins and we'll come up onto our hands and our knees. Hands come underneath of our shoulders. Fingers are spread wide, pressing each finger down into the mat and then lifting within the inside of that palm just a little bit. Tuck that tail. Tiny, tiny bit. Lengthen in that low back and we'll just bring our hips all the way back to child's pose. Inhale here. And then exhale, let's walk the hands around to the right, reaching across the body with the left hand. Keep wiggling those fingers over. Press the left hip down in toward the heel, though, keeping that dynamic tension. And then we'll come back to the center. Sink that chest nice and low, hips low, low down to the heels. And then when we're ready, we'll walk the hands over to the left, reaching across the body with that right arm. And then we'll slowly come back to the center. Hands are out in front of us, fingers are wide. Let's inhale all the way up to a little plank. Lengthen in the front of our body, tucking that tail, lifting the heart. And then exhale, we'll just lower all the way down to our tummies. Give ourselves a bit of a wiggle if we would like. Those legs have been bent up for quite some time. Hands are underneath of our shoulders here. Pull those babies back. And then just little tiny pressure in those palms as we bring the chest forward and then lift it up using those back muscles to do most of the work. The hands are there, but it's mostly in the back that the strength is coming. And then exhale, let's lower down. Press into those palms. Let's come up to a tabletop. Good. Inhale, let's lift up our right hand up to the sky, opening up really, really, really wide. And then exhale, threading the needle, bringing that arm all the way underneath the left, placing the shoulder and the ear down onto our mats. And now bringing the focus back to our tail end. Let's bring those hips over the top of the knees. We don't want to shift as we twist. After a few breaths, if we would like, we can take that left hand, place it on top of the right. Open up those shoulders a little bit more. One more breath here. And then slowly we'll unwind. Put our earbuds back in our ears. Fell out. We'll come back to our tabletop. Fingers are wide. Right here, let's do one cat, rounding in the spine as we exhale, tucking the tail, bringing the chin to the chest. And then inhale, little arch, dropping the tummy, lifting the heart in cow. Good, one more time. One cat. And a cow. And then back to the neutral spine, pressing into the fingers, lengthen all the way from tip to tip, and then we'll inhale, lift up the left hand. Opening wide. And then exhale, let's thread the needle, bringing that left hand and arm all the way underneath, lowering the shoulder and the ear. And then reshifting our hips back over the knees. And again, after a few breaths, if we would like, we can place that right hand onto the left. Help open up those shoulders a little bit more as we exhale. Help and encourage. No forcing. Inhaling here. Exhaling, a little bit more twist. And we can unwind, find ourselves back in our tabletop. And then just a couple of cats and cows here. And we'll meet together in that neutral spine. Let's walk the hands forward just a little bit. We'll take that right leg, reach it out long. Pull that right hip down to meet the left. So like coffee cup challenge. If you put your coffee cup on your tail, I don't know why anybody would do that, but would it fall off? Because our hips are not level. Reaching with that heel. And now let's take that heel and toes and we'll cross it over that left leg, pressing into those palms. And then if we would like, we can even look over the left shoulder. Look at those toes behind us. You can get some length in those side ribs, maybe all the way down to the outer hip on that right side. Good. And then slowly we'll unwind. We'll bring that heel back behind us. And then we'll step all the way forward into our little lunge here. Lizard pose. Foot is to the outside of those fingers. Hips are coming forward. Chests are proud. We'll soften that leg back behind us. And we're always making those micro adjustments, really just feeling what our body is up to, what it likes, what it doesn't like, what it needs, even though it may not like it. Good. And now we'll begin to take this right foot and we're going to just do a little creepy crawly. We're going to continue to walk that foot into the center. Take a little minute to say hi, and then we're going to go all the way across. And we're going to set ourselves up for pigeon here. So once we get that foot all the way across, we can lower the knee down behind this right wrist. Hands are out in front of us, pressing. This left leg is long behind us. But then we're going to bring that left hip forward. Again, keeping the hips level and even. Think about lengthen that low back as we lift our heart and sink the hips. We'll be here for a bit, so get as comfortable as you possibly can. If that means rolling up our mat or blankets to put underneath of our hips, please do so. After a few breaths, if we would like, we can walk those hands forward, keeping the chests going in that forward direction to keep the back long, and we can lower down to our elbows and or eventually down to a full fold or not. Stay here for another 2 breaths. And then when we're ready, we'll slowly help ourselves up. We'll tuck that left toe back behind us and we'll slowly step back into a bit of a downward facing dog. We'll give ourselves a wiggle. Like this is where we can have as much space as we need. Good. And then we'll lower back down onto our hands and our knees. Fingers are wide, spine is long, and then we'll take those little steps with those hands so that they're out a little bit further than our shoulders. We'll stretch that left leg out long, reaching back behind us, and then again, pointing the toes down toward the ground. Breathing into our back and our belly. And then when we're ready, we'll take that foot over across, stepping over that right foot. We can look over the right shoulder, see if we can find those toes in our gaze. Good, and then we'll inhale, come back to the center. Another long reach with that heel back behind us. And then exhaling, we'll step forward into our little lunge here. Wiggle into it. Feel those hips sinking down. Lower back is opening. Chest is proud. Keeping the length all along our spine. And then that left foot gets to do its little travel now. So it'll begin to walk heel, toe, just little tiny movements. Find a spot, take a breath, hit stop, whatever we need, until we get all the way across. We can lower that left knee behind the left wrist. We'll keep the foot flexed though. But if the heel begins to come in, that's totally fine. What we're more concerned about is keeping those hips even and level. So if we're able to keep our foot all the way up by our hand, but we're sitting way over here on our hip, doesn't really do us anything. So find where we're at today here in our pigeon. It will probably be different than it was on the other side. Wiggle our way into it. Use that breath. as we settle and get a little bit more comfortable, we can definitely ease our way down into any version of a fold if we would like. A couple more breaths. And then we'll slowly help ourselves back up to our hands. We'll tuck that right toe back behind us, and we'll step back into our wiggly downward facing dog. And now from here, we'll press into those hands, pull the shoulders back, bend the knees, lift the tail, and then begin to continue to bend those knees all the way down to our mats. Arms are still out in front of us, and we'll just creepy crawl those fingers forward. Our chests come lower and lower, but our hips are still over our knees. We'll find ourselves in puppy dog pose. So we went from downward facing dog into puppy dog. And then let's walk those hands backwards. We'll keep the chest low and we'll just move the hips over toward those heels and find ourselves in child's pose. And now let's swish the feet over to one side. We'll help ourselves up onto our butts We'll swing the legs around and give them a little bit of a shake if we would like. And then let's move all of that muscle out away from our sitting bones so we can really root down into our mat. And just walk those hips back just a little bit. So we've tilted that pelvis. And then we're going to open up the legs. It doesn't have to be as wide as you possibly can, just wider than they were, right? Toes can point up to the sky. And then from here, let's do a little forward fold. Hands can come to the mat. And we'll just, much like earlier, we'll just use that breath. Exhale, crawl the fingers forward. Allow that chest to come forward, hinging at the hips. One more inhale here. Exhale. Let's bend the elbows so that they can find the mat, and we'll slowly move them over toward the right leg. We'll keep the elbow to the inside of the leg, and then we'll turn those shoulders and reach that left hand up to the sky. Once we've got those shoulders stacked, we can stay here if we're happy, or we can reach that left hand up and over our head, but keeping those shoulders stacked so that we can peek inside that left arm up toward the sky or the ceiling. Inhale here. Exhaling, and then on the tail end of that exhale, we can release that left hand back down to the mat. And take our time. We'll just mosey on over. We can stay at the center for a breath if we would like, or we can just keep on going around to that left leg. Take our time. Get ourselves situated. Once that left elbow finds the inside of its leg, we can inhale, lift the right hand up to the sky, stack the shoulders, lengthen in that spine, and then exhale. Maybe we reach that hand over our head. One more inhale. Stay for the exhale. And then at that tail end, we can point those shoulders back down to the mat. Mosey on over to the center. And then inhale, help ourselves up to the top. Bend those knees, bring them in together. We'll roll up into our little ball as we have earned our nap, bringing our knees into our chest, rocking onto our backs in our egg here. Hugging those knees tightly into our body. And now let's release the left leg. Hold on to the shin of the right, hugging tightly still into that right leg, bringing the knee into our chest, maybe out a little bit toward our armpit. Bringing the left knee in to meet the right. Take one breath here. And then exhale, we can release that right knee. Leg can go out long, left. Both hands go to that left shin, hugging it in tight, tight, tight into our body. Both knees coming into our chest. One more deep breath in through our nose. Slow exhale out from our mouths. Slow, slow, slow. And then at the tail end of that exhale, we'll release everything down. Find our comfortable Shavasana position. We close our eyes. And we give ourselves permission to just be still and quiet for a few minutes. And we deepen our breath. And we'll bring gentle movement back into our body. We slowly come back into our space. And bring those knees into our chest, roll up into our ball, and rock over onto one side. When it's time, we'll help ourselves up to seated. Rising up, all brand new. Inhale, lifting our hands up to the sky, bringing them together at the top and exhaling them down to our hearts with a purpose. Thank you so much for joining me today, for allowing me to help you through your practice. I hope that we feel a little bit better, maybe a little bit taller today. May your day and the rest of your week be filled with joy and kindness, either spread to you or spreading to others. The light in the divine in me recognizes and respects the light in the divine in each of you. And when we are together, whether physically or virtually, we are one. Namaste.